London is a centre of excellence in that sense, like in terms of tech, in terms of business, and in terms of shaping the future.
London is a place where you have the best agencies, the best opportunities, possibilities.
London, within Europe, it's a market that's so ahead in terms of the industry.
The very best of each country end up here, pretty much. That makes for a scene that is very difficult to duplicate, of course.
London has been a melting pot of cultural diversity, of languages, of technology, of all different talents and also artistic talents.
I'm the Head of Integrated Production for McCann London.
I'm the Global Chief Digital Officer at Hogarth Worldwide.
And I'm the Managing Director of Media Monks London.
I'm the Global Chief Talent Officer of Publicis Media.
I'm Italian.
I'm French.
From Poland, from Jamaica.
I came from Sri Lanka.
Originally from Finland.
From Eugene, Oregon.
From Boston.
From Spain.
From Australia.
From Egypt, France.
From Portugal.
And I'm from Holland.
I came for 3 weeks to do a small project, and seeing the vibrant scene and the amount of artists, I thought I would stay a bit longer.
What I really loved about London is that it's bigger and it's more, I think, eclectic because of the amount, like all these different nationalities, all these different people getting together.
You know, we are all Londoners. We all belong here, and even though I'm Italian, I feel I'm a Londoner.
By having people from all around the world working on an idea from conception to execution, you touch the thing that brings what is universal to all cultures and would touch the human nature.
Everyone has a different perspective and something personal that they could draw on.
But without that sort of open perspective from different markets, it really would sort of suffer in the long run, especially from a creative point of view.
You need to have these international teams sitting together and getting together.
Struggle.
Be a second-hand industry.
Die.
Stand still.
Not be the same.
Be less innovative.
Be boring.
Will not prosper.
Be grey.
Will become local.
We'll have to migrate.
Be on an island.
Definitely take a step back.
Have a lot more competitors.
If you don't have access to the minds and the talent and the quality of that talent in London, it's going to disappear.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Lead. It's great to see you all here. It's great to see such a great turnout. We've got an absolutely packed agenda, as always. So welcome to you all, particularly our AA members, our front foot members, and people like me, Lead loyalists. I think I came to 3 out of 5 Leads before I joined the AA. So I know some people put it in their diary as one of the key events to kick off the year. So welcome to you all. Thanks very much to our headline sponsors, WPP, The Guardian, and Adweek Europe. Thanks also to our supporters, Connor Broadley Wealth Management, the DMA and Campaign Magazine. Now, Lead is where advertising meets business and meets politics. And this morning we've got an absolutely stellar lineup of speakers from all 3 of these worlds. We're going to be covering the big issues that face us in Brexit. We're going to be covering the big issues and the big challenges in our industry itself. And as an ad industry, we do our best when we work through these things together. Now, I wanted to start this morning's event with that film. That was an important campaign for us, the We're a Great Advert for Britain campaign. And it's vital that we celebrate the global talent that has made the UK such a success and punch well above its weight. And it's great to see some of the faces from the film here in the room today. Keeping this flow of talent and even increasing it is a cornerstone of how we're going to achieve growth beyond Brexit. And it's important to think about growth because we had a record year in 2017. After really strong growth in 2016, actually, despite all the predictions and gloom and doom at the beginning of the year, actually advertising grew in 2017, and we reached a record £22.1 billion of spend. And we're forecasting, again, growth, small level of growth, 2.8% for 2018. Now, we know that's important because advertising is absolutely the engine room of the economy. And it's really important, particularly as we face the Brexit headwinds in the economy, as we negotiate our way out of the EU and work through the sort of transition into a new era of trading. Now, despite the very best laid plans, last August I confirmed him, the Secretary of State for Department of International Trade, Dr. Liam Fox, can't be here in person as he's been summoned to Davos along with half the cabinet. But I did get the chance to put some questions to him, and I'm delighted that he's responded with this short film. So let's hear from Dr. Liam Fox.
Sorry I can't be with you today. As Secretary of State for International Trade, I know the vast benefits that the advertising industry brings to the UK, not only commercially, but in raising the profile of our country across the world. Advertising is the UK's second largest creative industry in terms of GVA. Each year, UK advertising firms export around £4.3 billion worth of their services. Crucially, this global success means that the UK's balance of payments surplus for advertising is the largest in Europe at £1.6 billion and far ahead of our nearest competitors. Research for the Advertising Association indicates that every £1 spent on advertising generates £6 for the economy. That means the £20 billion spent on UK advertising in 2015 potentially generated some £120 billion in GDP. That would represent 6.4% of the total economic output of the UK. Advertising supports around 1 million jobs in this country, and of all the major international advertising hubs, it is London that boasts the most diverse workforce. Above all, UK advertising commands a formidable international reputation. Quite simply, it is seen as the best in the world. The industry draws talent from across the globe into the UK, and staff trained in our domestic advertising industry are highly prized by companies from Los Angeles to Lahore. It is no wonder that the world's largest multinationals place their global accounts in London. We have a gold standard reputation. For my department, advertising is a key growth industry, and we want to do everything we can to facilitate and support its success. The year-on-year export growth in advertising far outstrips the wider economy and most other creative industries. 35% of the top 20 UK ad agencies' total revenue is generated by overseas business, almost £300 million. These are highly impressive figures, and it's easy to see how advertising will play a key role in our vision for a global Britain. Promote UK is the Advertising Association's own industry group, working alongside the Department for International Trade. The group aims to promote the UK as the global centre for advertising. On top of this, Promote UK helps my department to identify priority markets and organise trade missions, as well as providing case studies and materials for DIT staff in our embassies abroad to promote UK advertising services to local businesses in every country where we have a presence. I'd also like to take this opportunity to pay tribute to our own DIT team, led by Mike Bartley, Jamila Saidi and David Moody, whose work alongside Promote UK has done so much to boost the success of the global UK advertising industry. They are also working alongside the Advertising Association to shape a new global business development strategy that will feed into the new Creative Industries Council Trade Board. The Advertising Association represents not only one of the UK's key growth industries, but also one with a glowing international reputation and a truly global reach. The Department for International Trade has an ambitious vision for this country's trading future, but DIT doesn't exist in a vacuum, and we don't want to develop policy without listening to those industries who boast a broad range of international expertise and knowledge of key markets. I'm delighted that the Advertising Association has already established a dedicated FTA group to develop an industry-wide input to government as we begin to shape the United Kingdom's future free trade agreements. The government understands the importance of European markets to the advertising industry. That is why we are seeking a deep and special partnership as well as a comprehensive free trade agreement with the European Union after our departure. Throughout the process, we will prioritise the stability and certainty that is so important to all of the UK's international firms. Yet the Department for International Trade has a much broader vision for the future, looking beyond the borders of Europe to global opportunities. I am particularly pleased that the Advertising Association has also identified some of the key challenges that face the future of global trade, including data flows, information, and the mobility of international talent. Together, I'm confident that we can face these challenges and deliver a more prosperous future for the advertising industry and the whole of the United Kingdom.
I think it's a terrific overview of the relationship that we're building with the Department of International Trade. It's incredibly important we work closely with government to get the best Brexit for our industry. And I think that film shows quite how closely we're working together. So really grateful to Department of International Trade colleagues and DCMS for helping us secure that film and get the time in Liam Fox's diary. He is probably the busiest man in government, so we're really pleased to have had him on film. Now, this is my second lead. The big thing, apart from the follow-up from Brexit that's happened this year on the political sphere, has been the industrial strategy. So the government have called on industry to help and come up with ideas to support growth against the sort of Brexit headwinds that we're no doubt going to face. And we know that advertising can help the economy grow, not just in London and thinking globally, but across the whole UK. So we'll be talking about those things and the challenges that we face in achieving that growth through the morning. But let's be honest, we don't just face challenges around Brexit, we do face some absolutely huge challenges in our industry. Now, I've been in advertising for 37 years, and in that time I don't think I can remember a year that has been more high profile for advertising in terms of some of the challenges that we face, particularly in terms of the news stories. So it's a watershed year in many, many ways, and I think one of the positive impacts of that watershed year has been the unprecedented levels of cooperation and collaboration to make the industry better. I think one of the amazing things about our industry is when times are tough, everybody does pull together to solve the problems and move forward. And so I think that's really important that we continue to do that in 2018 because there is still plenty more work to do. Another area where there's plenty of work is in the area of trust. And we have just got this research through last week. This is, we surveyed trust amongst MPs each year. And you can see that overall levels of trust have gone up again. We're on a nice upward curve since 2015. The big dip in 2014, I think, was when advertising payday loans was very, very high profile. So we see this as a very sensitive measure. But we do a huge amount of work in Westminster and increasingly in Holyrood in Scotland to make sure that political leaders understand the contribution our industry can make. So we see increased trust and we see favourability continue at reasonably good levels too. However, when we compare MPs, actually their position is much more positive than the public at large. Our latest trust figure for favourability figure for the UK public is around 35%. That's about as low as it's ever been. And there's lots more work to do around trust amongst the most important audience that we'll work for, which is the general public. So the AA has pulled together a trust and favourability working group. That group is going to be starting its work in February. And I hope by the time we get to lead in 2019, we'll have some significant initiatives to report that I think can make a big, big difference. I think sometimes it's really helpful to look back in order to go forwards. And I'm a great fan of the history of advertising, and the history of advertising trust in particular is a great place to do that. And the AA historically was a very big advertiser, but not only in the 1930s. Here's some of the ads that we ran in the 30s, which were all about trust, but in a sense a different type of thing. It's about how you can trust advertising. There's safety in a brand name. Advertised goods are the goods to buy. There's only good news in the advertisements. You know, these are all lovely, naive, in a sense, optimistic views of our business. But in a way, the fact that they're focused on trust shows that trust has always been an issue that we need to address. Another campaign which I thought was slightly more poignant, actually, given the subject matters to today, was some advertising that we ran in 1973. So our equivalent meeting in 1973 was all about getting match fit to be joining the EEC. And probably a lot of the people in the room won't even remember what the EEC was. But the EEC was 6 countries, that then became 9 when the UK joined. And you can see from these ads, there was a sort of trepidation about it. It was all about you know, people trying to grab market share. The lovely ad in the middle with lovely stereotypes of French and German and Dutch and Italians and so on, and Britannia looking to grab market share in Europe. So I'm not sure those ads would necessarily play well today, but that shows the times that we were in. And oh God, not another conference on Europe. Well, here we are. Oh God, not another conference on Europe. Now, I think, and why I found that poignant was, here we are, 45 years on, we're preparing to leave. And undoubtedly in our business, being in the EU has been extraordinarily successful. That film at the start showed how well we have done. As our business has globalized, the UK and London in particular has become the hub of choice for so much of the business. So we've now got a huge amount to protect as we leave the EU, and that's what we're going to be working very, very hard to do. Now, at LEAD last year, one of the things I promised is that we'd be taking a much more campaigning role and a much more high-profile role. And in fact, supporting that great Advert for Britain campaign, we don't just have the film, we also had fantastic press and poster campaigns, terrific support from media owners that are here in the room today, and thank you also to Adam and Eve DDB for the creative work. So you probably saw those ads and the great case histories of the people that have come to the UK and thrived, and it's really important that we keep that open. That report, it's called AdPay 6, it will be in your goodie bags when you leave. That was made possible by a fantastic collaboration with LinkedIn. So we had access to the entire LinkedIn database, and that allowed us to chart the flow of talent, not just through the UK, but into the UK, from which countries, and then out of the UK. One of the surprising facts we found is actually that Brits are the most important talent export in the 5 other key hubs around the world. So we want to make the point that talent is a reciprocal trade as well as goods and services. So AdPay 6 is in your goodie bags, along with our annual report for 2017. It's the first time we've done an annual report at the AA since 2005. That really covers the activities that we've done across the whole year. So please take a look at that and let me know what you think. So we have many, many meaty subjects to discuss this morning, an absolutely packed agenda, and you'll have the opportunity to ask questions and put questions through your app to our various panelists. We're also going to be taking some polling questions. So I'd like you to get your apps ready. Everybody got their app downloaded? I'm going to ask the first poll question. So, thinking about your own businesses, how confident are you feeling about your company's growth in 2018? And there are your options to choose from. Hope everybody's voting. I can see concentrated faces in the room. And as you vote, the results will come up on the screen. Well, I think that's quite positive. Everybody's thinking about, they're quietly confident, and I think that's probably the mood that sums up the country. I think, in a sense, despite, I mean, even David Cameron said it this week in Davos, Brexit hasn't so far turned out to be quite as bad as we thought it would be. Certainly our industry has had a better year than we were forecasting, so I think your votes reflect that.